I've gotten a chance to work the postseason several times and a couple All-Star games, one in my hometown in Minnesota. So I worked 2 All-Star games and some division series, wild cards, and LCSs. And so it's been a fun ride.
Jeff Nelson is not usually a name that one associates with baseball's postseason, despite being a staple in October, and that suits him just fine. He's a Major League Baseball umpire and is no stranger to the World Series itself.
I work 3. You don't actually lose track of those, but you don't wear a T-shirt that says "Look at me" either. I'm real happy that when I got a chance to play job for Game 7 in 2014, that I got the chance and the opportunity worked out, so the game went well. So, yeah, looking back, it wasn't a blast doing it, but it was in the rearview mirror when something like that goes well. Yeah, it's something you look back on in your career, and that's a highlight and a high point that they can't take away from you. It's pretty cool.
Jeff has never had an at-bat nor thrown a single pitch in a Major League Baseball game. He got his start on the road to the show just like all other Major League umpires do, by attending the Umpire Academy.
Umpire school for me was a lot of fun. They ran it differently. I went to the Joe Brinkman Umpire School up in Cocoa, Florida in 1989. And umpire school back then was more like boot camp, and it's different now. It's more like a university and a learning teaching experience. I learned a lot, took a lot away, loved the experience, and then went back to teach for 9 years as well. But umpire school is just so different now in terms of learning and teaching and the different resources that schools provide students, and they involve technology and really take learning and teaching to a higher level.
Every student who attends the Umpire Academy has the dream of reaching the heights of what Jeff Nelson has accomplished. The odds are stacked against each and every one of them, but all who attend Umpire Academy believe that they are the ones. But to get there, they have to endure the stressful and grueling days of the academy, not only surviving, but thriving. This is who they are. You may hate them, but you don't know them. This is their start on the road to the show. Historic Dodgertown has hosted world champions, MVPs, and Cy Young Award winners. But its most important team descends on its grounds every January, when the Minor League Baseball Umpire Training Academy takes over its campus. The person in charge of keeping things straight is Academy Director Dusty Dellinger, who also plays a dual role as Director of Umpire Development for Minor League Baseball.
In 2008, in a meeting in Clearwater, Florida, our staff discussed the possibility of starting an umpire school somewhere. Then in 2012, we opened up the Umpire Training Academy here at Dodgertown.
Dellinger was an umpire himself, and now is tasked with helping others who hope to make it to the big leagues. which is the ultimate goal of the Academy attendees. However, the Academy is just a first step on the road to the major leagues. Lots of people will attend, but few will move on, and it takes a special individual to trek through the 6 levels of minor league baseball to get a shot at the big leagues. But if it were easy, everyone would do it.
However many jobs we have for the upcoming season, we place those umpires into our rookie leagues. The umpires will work anywhere from 6 to 7 years in the minor leagues before they have the opportunity to get to the AAA classification. Once the umpire gets to the AAA classification, Major League Baseball will supervise those umpires, evaluate those umpires, and then they will make their selections to Major League Spring Training from AAA.
I think bottom line is relative to the umpire. They play a very important role in our game.
For more than 40 years, Dan O'Brien has been a respected name in baseball. As the former general manager of the Cincinnati Reds, he can attest to the importance of the men in black.
I think I speak for most of the executives. It's about respect. We appreciate that they are the first line, so to speak, of defense in terms of the integrity of the game and understanding what a difficult job it is. And I think genuine respect is the right choice of words.
O'Brien has also seen the game of baseball change through the years, and he notices the challenges that umpires have had to endure in order to evolve with it.
I think you have a lot of different components. You have better athletes today, more speed. The game definitely is played at a faster pace, and now you've added a new component, and that's technology, and sort of interweaving that into the process of the game. But ultimately, it comes down to I think the umpires today have more to contend with in doing their jobs than it was previously, and I think they handle it flawlessly.
The task of teaching at the Academy doesn't fall alone on Academy Director Dusty Dellinger. He has offered a seat at the table to the best and brightest minor league umpires to work at the Academy.
Our junior instructors consist of current minor league umpires. We pick those umpires to come and partake in the training. They do a lot of the heavy lifting here at the Umpire Training Academy, anywhere from loading up the equipment to actual giving formal instruction to our umpires.
The unquestioned leader amongst the instructors is AAA umpire Matt Sajak. In addition to being the longest tenured instructor at the Academy, Matt's 8 years as a professional umpire are the most at the school.
Matt is our senior umpire here at the Umpire Training Academy. He was part of the initial class of instructors here at the Umpire Training Academy, and he just does an outstanding job. He's grown and developed into his current role, and his leadership skills are outstanding.
I've worked my way up to this leadership position, and I feel like I'm specially qualified for it because I've been here for so long, and I've done every job that I would ask these guys to do. So I know kind of the ins and outs of how long it's going to take to load the van or who has to be on locker room duty, and I'm kind of manage the personalities and their own specialties and put them in positions where they can succeed.
Matt was my instructor when I came through the academy in 2013, and so I've always looked up to Matt as a person. And so when I became an instructor here, I really got to know Matt on a more personal level. And I think that what I've learned most about Matt is how to be a leader without being condescending, because there are people out there who will put you down in order to get their message across. And Matt is the complete opposite of that. He always wants what's best for everybody else. He's always putting other people first. And I think that's what makes him a great leader.
Matt understands his leadership role and the large responsibility that comes with it.
The best part of being an instructor for me is just giving back to the game that's given me so much, and also I think more importantly than that is giving back to the academy. Being able to come down here it's an honor and a privilege, and I enjoy coming down here and sacrificing my month to just work as hard as I can and make this school the best it can be.
Matt's time as a professional umpire have been filled with great memories, but one sticks out the most.
Proudest moment for me is in 2016. I was lucky enough to work my first big league spring game, and I was thrilled when the schedule came out. I saw my name on there. I saw the guys I was working with, and my palms were sweaty already. And I was lucky enough that my dad and my girlfriend at the time could both make it out, and going out there and walking on that field and working the plate for that game. I thought I was nervous, and then about the 5th inning I looked over and I saw my dad in the stands, and I don't think the guy sat down for a single second of the game. He told me afterwards too, "I think I was more nervous than you were." So it was just such a special moment having them come down on the field afterwards, and we took pictures and they got to meet the crew, and it blew me away. That was what I was working for right there. Got to put the uniform on.
Yeah, we have a wonderful opportunity to operate our umpire training academy here at Dodgertown. It's just overflowing with history from some of the greats that have been here: Sandy Koufax, Don Drysdale, Steve Yeager, Steve Garvey. There's just a lot of great individuals that have been here. Obviously, Jackie Robinson was a major player in the reason why Dodgertown was even built. This is an old naval base, and back in the 40s, this is when the idea came about to have the Dodgers to have their own training facility, so they could have Jackie Robinson train and develop his skills in a safe environment down here in beautiful Vero Beach, Florida.
Registration day finally arrives at the academy, a day many have waited for. Students say goodbye to friends and family to call Dodgertown their home for the next 4 weeks.
Our students come from all walks of life, from young men to older umpires.
The nerves of meeting other students and the staff alone can make anyone's mind race with different thoughts. But nothing can prepare them for the journey that they are about to embark on. And it's a journey that they will never soon forget.
Our students are housed here on campus, so students get up early, 7 a.m. breakfast here in the conference center at Dodgertown. Breakfast is for 1 hour, and then we'll start our classroom session at 8 a.m.
The classroom sessions at the academy are no joke. Every single word that is uttered in baseball's official rulebook are covered. Then, students are tested on what they've learned in the classroom. From lectures to video analysis of plays, there is an old saying that umpires need to be perfect and get better from there. The classroom prepares for that type of mentality. Following lunch in the dining hall, students then take it to the field. There, they will not only see firsthand the different types of positioning used while umpiring, but they will also be taught the different eccentricities that the game of baseball can present for umpires on a game-by-game basis.
While I'm here, if I read that I gotta go out, I'm gonna cross over step, I'm going out.
Being on the field isn't a time that any student can relax. After everyone gets a good stretch in, students then work on the proper way to signal so it becomes second nature. Believability is an important part of the job, and attention to detail while looking sharp is a key in this area. It's also common for students to attend the academy with no previous umpire experience. Running drills that emphasize proper technique and footwork move students toward thinking solely like an umpire.
He's out! He's out!
During games, students play the field and run the bases, while staff members serve as fungo hitters, setting up plays for the umpires.
Go run! Go run!
Realistic game situations are used, and that includes staff members serving as field managers who will argue with each umpire, but it's all with learning in mind.
He's dead! Right here! It's right there, look! Come on! Look, right here! Come on, let's go! Back judgment.
Students are then provided instant feedback on their performance, as other staff look for the best candidates to move into professional baseball. All of this can make for an intense day at the academy. Intensity also comes to mind when the cages are running. Being flat in the cages isn't a place any student wants to find themselves in. With baseballs flying, people yelling, all in an enclosed metal building, well, you get the picture.
There's two things that come to mind when I think of intensity. One of them is once we start situations on the drill field, you have that added pressure as a student of knowing that if I don't nail this right now, I might have someone in a blue shirt yelling at me in a minute. And that can definitely be intense for the students. But I think on a day-to-day basis, the most intense part of the program for a student is working in the cages. Because when you're in there, you're working the plate. It's just you. You're calling balls and strikes. No one else is umpiring. And you have one instructor who has 100% focus on you during your rep.
So I believe as instructors, we're trying to push the students to get the most out of them. And in the cages, in my experience, I believe that the more we are loud and into it in the cages, the more the students will perform well, especially from the student side as well, because you have the feeder down there, you have 4 cages going at one time, you have the fan blowing, so there's some air movement in the cages, and that coupled with the instructors yelling instructions and trying to teach the students the proper ways to work the plate, their stance, head height, timing, and all that. I think the whole combination just makes for a pretty good atmosphere in the cages.
You know, everyone is under pressure because, you know, they're trying to earn a job. And so I believe that they're just casually just being more intense because they're in an environment where an instructor is truly like 5 feet away from them, just watching them like a hawk. And naturally, you're just going to want to bring a little more energy into your work.
One student who understands what intensity is all about is Australian native Robert Casey, whose job back in Australia is quite extreme itself.
Back in Australia, I'm a mechanical engineer. I work for myself. I have my own engineering company. These days, mostly I do a lot of forensic work. Car crashes, bus crashes, helicopter crashes. It's interesting work. I love it. I wake up every morning, I want to go to work.
But Robert comes to the academy carrying a lot of baggage on his own. Both of his sons, Connor and Ryan, also from Australia, have joined him in attending the academy.
The truth is that we all love umpiring. We absolutely love it. But I realise what my position is in all of that. My eldest son, Connor, he's the one that he's got true potential to go further, and he always wanted to come here. But baseball, to my family, is something that brings my family together. So if Connor was going to come to a place like this, I wanted to share in that too. So he allowed me to tag along.
So the first reason that I got into umpiring, back when I was about 16, I didn't actually make a representative team for my area. So instead of playing that season, I decided to umpire instead, and I just kind of stuck with it since. Don't get me wrong, I'm still playing and umpiring at the moment, but I'm just I'm not getting the push I want from baseball, but I'm getting the push that I want from umpiring, so I'm leaning towards a career in umpiring more than baseball.
Well, I'm the slow one of the three, so I was kind of brought along with the rest of them, but I think it's pretty amazing, to be honest. In Australia, baseball's not nearly as big as it is here. Some of the high school games here have more of a crowd than the major league games back home. But I love the community, I love the sport, and I just want to keep going. And honestly, as far as people want me to keep going, I'm just going to keep doing it. And to be invited to go to the US by my dad, with my brother as well, great opportunity to improve my skills, and a great opportunity just to learn new things, because I think you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify, and baseball is a great way to do that. The community, the sport, everything about it.
If I'm here by myself, I wouldn't have the support that I would be having from those two. Plus, I'm the type of person that if I have ideas on rules or if I've got questions, I like to have someone that can bounce the ideas or give me an answer back type of thing. And I'm a kind of a shy person, so making friends is kind of hard for me here. So it's nice to have someone that I know and someone that I can trust and bounce ideas around with.
We flew direct to Dallas-Fort Worth, about 16 hours in total. The flight was a little bit delayed, so we actually missed our connecting flight, but that's okay. The next flight from Dallas to Orlando was about 2.5 hours later. In total, I guess around about 24 hours to get to Orlando. But we were smart. We actually thought, okay, we're going to adjust our body clocks in Orlando for 3 or 4 days. We went to Disney World, of course, and so we reset our body clocks before we came down to Vero Beach.
We're in economy. Leg room is nice and tight. Slept most of the way there. I can drink in Australia, so I could drink on the flight, and sure helped a bit.
Unfortunately, for the 16 hours, I didn't get a wink of sleep at all. And I got the window seat, so I was stuck in the window seat for the entire time that those two were asleep. So I just had to try and hold off drinking anything, had to try and stay awake as long as I could, so that way and the seats themselves were just so cramped, it was just so painful and awkward. But it's a sort of experience that you're going to have once in a lifetime sort of thing, maybe, depending. But I'm glad I've done it, because it's the first step in coming here and actually getting what I want out of this entire trip.
I'm making it. My family's making it pretty well. We're all looking out for each other, holding each other up, getting each other ready for the test. So I think we're doing pretty good so far.
The best part for me, though, because I can share it with my two boys, that just makes it special.
Jay McAndrews and his brother Dave are both native New Yorkers, but have recently moved apart from one another.
Dave McAndrews, plead umpire! One more pitch!
I enjoyed being with him. Back in New York before he moved to Hilton Head when he retired, we lived next door to each other. So we were sharing a lot of stuff, mowing the lawn, doing all of that kind of stuff. So him being away for about 2 years, we talk, but it's not the same. So to spend some quality time and have a mission to accomplish here, it's been good.
I come down here and, I'm not by myself. Not that that's an issue. I don't have an issue with that, but, it's nice to have him. And it's also great because, he got me into umpiring. So it's great to bounce stuff off of him, and there's a comfort level. So we do the homeworks together. We on the field we're in the same crew. So it's just nice. It's a working relationship while you're here, which is great, but it's just nice having him. And he's in New York now, and I'm down South Carolina, so we don't get to spend a lot of time except for holidays and stuff here and there. But it's a treat, to spend this much time with him. And then, but I'm sure we'll be tired of each other by the time we get there.
I'm glad he came, and it's good to see his progress, and he pushes me to be better, so it's great. We worked the same association, summer ball, and finally got assigned to a game together. So it was great. We actually planned it out. We said, the wives will come, we'll go to dinner afterwards, and the moment the wives showed up, the two managers decided to go at it, and I had to throw both managers out of the game, and the game was over. And the wives hadn't even sat down yet. So it was into 2 innings, that was it. That's our umpiring experience together.
Coming to the academy is a second calling for Dave McAndrews. But his first calling in life was just as sacred.
I retired almost 2 years ago from the New York City Fire Department. I worked for 28 years there. It was the greatest job in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and it was amazing. I mean, the highs, the lows, the adrenaline, the brotherhood. It's just nothing beats it. And it's just incredible. And it was funny because I try to explain to people, like, well, what was it like being a fireman and stuff. Yeah, you're in a burning building, you're doing this, you're at a car accident, you're at a tragedy or something. That's all part of the job and everything. But I said, what's the amazing part about it is, for 28 years, I got to do something I do for nothing. I was a volunteer, where I was, and that's how I got the job. I said, I'm doing this job for nothing.
And he's no stranger to tragedy after seeing the World Trade Center terrorist attacks up close on September 11th.
I went in after the collapses and everything, and it was just, I don't know, it was something out of a Terminator movie. You just walking through this cloud, and there'd just be like cars on fire, buildings, and then there'd be something else, and very muffled because of the cloud, the dust cloud, and then you'd hear jets, the jets were still flying around, I'm just like, all right. It was just a surreal day because you had hope for a little while, and then when I got to the top of the pile, and 210-story buildings come down, I went there and I was like, man, I'm going to see 40 stories of rubble, 4 stories of rubble. And then, you're thinking like, all right, we got to get to the top. You're just trying to look for anything. But the one thing that got me that day was everything was solid, like this like concrete. Everything, that pile was solid. There was nothing. There wasn't a shard of glass. The glass in that building is an inch thick. It wasn't a shard of glass. It wasn't a piece of rubble like cement, nothing. The only thing that was around was steel and the panels that were on the building, and just paper everywhere. And it was just, and every once in a while I'd be on top of the pile, and a cloud would clear, or the wind would clear, and you would get an expanse of the field. And it was that kind of at that moment that I had to say, we're not finding anybody else. There's no way. I mean, if you weren't found on the perimeter of all of that, then we're not finding anybody else. There was nothing loose. I was just like, man, there's no way. And for months and months and months, guys went down to the hole just to find anything, fragments, pieces, anything. And it went on. And another thing just a sidebar, is to put things in perspective. It's like my best friend in the whole world is he got on a job like 10 years after me. So I talked him on, get him in, and he's one of these poor bastards that had, he went down in the hole because he was newer. And he went down to the hole for months, and he worked down there. And now he's got, he's got a cancer that they can't do anything about. And it's funny because guys ask, man, how you doing? How you is? I'm like, I'm all right. I'm in pain, with this academy. Yeah, I'm in pain. He goes, oh yeah, it sucks. And I kind of want to just tell him, I says, I'm standing here, man. I'm breathing air. I'm getting to do something I want to do forever. And at some point, I gotta go. I gotta go say goodbye to my friend. So I'll deal with the pain. It's all good.
There's not a lot that can intimidate Dave McAndrews. The same can be said for Academy instructor Emma Charlesworth Sealer. Emma is the first ever native of Minnesota to be an instructor at the Academy. She's also the first female, and she's taking full advantage of the opportunity that she's earned.
I think maybe the thing that I like most is just being able to get back out there on the field and, sort of run through all of the rules and scenarios again, and then teach them to other people, because not only is it, it's fun to sort of share your knowledge about umpiring with people and see how they progress from, day one to the end of the fourth week. And I think that's definitely one of the most rewarding parts about it.
Emma is one of 2 female umpires in professional baseball after attending the Academy the year prior.
My first year in professional baseball was really a fantastic experience. I worked in the Gulf Coast League, and it was about 65, close to 70 games that we ended up working. So it's a little shorter season than hopefully in a few years, but it was definitely it was a learning experience is what it was. So it was great to get out there and get the games in and everything. And I learned a lot, and getting the feedback from the evaluators was also just really important.
She did an outstanding job this year. She fit in very well. She hit the ground running, giving great instructions to our students, and just really gelling with the staff and stepping up in all facets, and just did an amazing job. And we're just really excited for her to be a part of our program.
I think it's definitely very different coming back as an instructor as opposed to being a student last year. It's still a lot of work, but it's a different kind of pressure. Last year it's like you're here and you're trying to learn all this new stuff and absorb it all, and then put it together and in your performance on the field and everything. And that's definitely a different kind of pressure, but also when we're here as instructors, just sort of getting to know how everything runs and then trying to make it run smoothly, because you really want to put together a good experience for the students. So that's a different kind of pressure, but it's still definitely a lot of work.
Flying under the radar isn't easy at the Academy, especially if you are a second-year student.
He's off the bear! Good job, reset.
That's the case for Sean Cassidy, who is trying to catch on and garner a position in professional baseball after an unsuccessful attempt in 2016.
One of the things I've noticed that is different for me, at least the second time through, is that I'm nowhere near as nervous on the field. And I recognize the fact that if you make one mistake out there, that's not the end of the world.
The second year students, in some ways, have some advantages coming back here to the Umpire Training Academy, but there's more expectations as well because we know that they've been through the program. They should know a lot of the fundamentals that we're teaching here at the academy. So we're expecting a little bit higher level of performance from them to put a little bit more polish to improve upon the deficiencies that they had the first year that they were here at the Umpire Training Academy.
I'm here a second time to get a job. I'm not here just for the experience of it. I'm here to be in professional baseball and in minor league baseball. So it would mean a lot to me to know that the last 2 years was worth it.
Just like any student, the thought of one day walking on a big league field as a major league umpire has crossed his mind. And Sean's desire to achieve that goal has brought him back for another chance to make that dream a reality.
A, it's the best game in the world, and here on the biggest stage in the world. You are part of the best of the best. You're on a big league field because you're part of the best officials in this sport, officiating the best athletes, and you're a part of it. Umpiring Major League Baseball is something that it would just be an unreal experience.
After 4 long and grueling weeks, everyone comes together at the end for one night to attend the Academy graduation banquet. It's important to look your best. And looking your best goes for everyone. Stories are told and memories are made.
Our graduation ceremony at our Umpire Academy banquet is a special evening. We've worked really hard through the 4 weeks. We've really made some strong friendships along the way, and it's a night for us just to come together in a formal setting, to have a nice meal, and just kind of a last goodbye for all of us. We all live in different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And some of these people will never see each other again, but we had a special bond over the 4 weeks that we were here at the Umpire Training Academy, and this is just one evening that we can all come together and celebrate our achievement.
It's a night of honoring those who stuck out the grind. It's a night of fun and lots of laughing. And it's also a night of emotional moments, and in most cases, a night of farewells. But after tonight, one day still remains, and it's by far the most stressful. About 30% of the class will get the good news that they want to hear today. The rest will not. The sense of nervousness is running high. The feel of tension is very much in the air.
We're down to that last day, and everyone's wanting to hear good news, and unfortunately a majority of the students don't get that news.
As a student, you're brought into the Jackie Robinson room. You all congregate in there. This year it was all 99 students. They'd sit in there and wait for their names to be called by the instructors. They're each taken to a separate room, one of 3 rooms, that has a senior staff member as well as 2 junior staff members.
One of the best things of advice I ever got from someone was, as a student, don't count. Don't look around and say, he might have a shot, he's out, he's in. Don't do that. Well, naturally, that's exactly what you're going to do. And I remember my roommate and I would stay up, and we would try to kind of figure it out, but at the end of the day, you have no clue. And so now that I'm an instructor, I can understand that and realize that counting is literally the worst thing to do.
I remember as a young umpire going to umpire school, back in 1996, and how nervous and anxious I was that morning going into the room. And then once I got the news, unfortunately, the first year that I went, did not receive the news that I wanted, but I was really proud of the effort that I put in. I knew how competitive our class was that year. I was really happy with my performance and where I ranked out at school, knowing that the guys ahead of me had really earned that opportunity as well.
Everybody would walk outside and congregate there. And there's guys sobbing because they didn't make it. We had some guys sobbing because they did make it. It's kind of hard to tell. But out there was kind of where everybody made their phone calls and congratulated each other if you were going, and consoled the ones that were not going to the advanced course. So it was a mix of emotions that day for sure.
A room where 3 people may shape the course of your life. And for Sean Cassidy, a chance at redemption 2 years in the making.
Sean, congratulations. You're offered a position in minor league baseball pending a successful background check.
Thank you very much.
You've made tremendous progress from before.
Thank you.
I mean, it's almost like a night and day maturity.
This is the phone call to home that Sean has been waiting for. This time, he makes it with good news.
I called my mom, and she was fortunately enough with my dad, so I was able to talk with both of them for a little bit and tell them the good news. And obviously, they've seen me work hard in the last 3-4 years to try to attain this, and they've seen me go through the process of just being able to get a job to start. So they're very excited, and I told them that they have to come visit me wherever I'm working. That's how I told them the good news. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to come visit me somewhere and watch me work baseball.
Sean Cassidy's long climb is really just beginning, but he wouldn't want it any other way. And his hard work and decision to come back a second time paid off. A lot can be said for the excitement and happiness of starting the long and winding road that must be taken for a chance to get to the big leagues. A job that is often celebrated in its anonymity. But for the newest Academy students to achieve the goal of being the best in their class, they wouldn't trade what they accomplished for anything in the world. The road to the show has just begun.
You kind of think of yourself as just blending in to the staff and to baseball in general. One of the great parts of the job is that, you get yelled at and booed for 3-4 hours from 45,000 people, but you can walk out of that stadium right in the middle of the crowd and nobody knows who you are. You just kind of blend in, and that's the way you like it. You don't think of yourself as anything special, and we enjoy the game of baseball, we enjoy umpiring, but blending in is a cool aspect of it.
Preparing for the arrival of the students creates its own unique set of challenges.
Preparing for the Umpire Training Academy takes a lot of work. We do a lot of prepping, planning each year, and over the time we've gotten a lot more efficient in our preparation for the Umpire Training Academy, but it's very detailed.
The complexities that come with the game of baseball itself create the need for that detail.
It's just part of the job. So all the junior instructors know, hey, the day before students come, you're going to work, and you're going to work, getting everything set up. My role this year was to get all the signs up throughout the whole complex. And so that takes time because I'm very picky about stuff, and I want to make sure it's on the right ring. If it's one notch off, I'm going to take the whole thing down and start over. It's got to look good. Some other guys were doing binders, and they got to do 99 binders. They all have to look the same. Some other guys have to work on the classroom, get tables and chairs. It's just, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't understand until they've actually been on that side of it.
We spend 1.5 days unpacking all of the equipment and getting set up. So it takes a lot of work, but all hands on deck. We all knock it out and seem to get better and more efficient each year.
Everything from uniforms to equipment. Even the staff themselves need to look their best. Almost everything always seems to fit into place. Well, almost everything.
It's about to be $1.
No, it's not either, dude. Get it out.
I don't know. I saw that cart stop. All 4 wheels stop.
Don't worry about it. All 4 wheels on the road.
It's on him.
But no matter what, everything always has a way of smoothing out. Anticipating the arrival of all the students simply isn't indoor work. The 9 fields that pepper the 80 acres of historic Dodgertown are meticulously manicured to perfection. The campus is treated like a shrine to history. The infield dirt is pressed like a tablecloth. Not a single blade of grass is left unattended.
I don't fungo hit for a good reason, because when I played baseball, I wasn't very good at hitting anyway. But it's just, there's a lot more to it than just throwing the ball up and hitting it somewhere. So, it's all about setting up your plays and things like that, and working with the students and everything. And so I don't feel like I am quite an expert in that at this time.
In terms of what a fungo hitter brings to the field is they really set up everything. They are the ones that are physically putting the ball in play. And that can be a lot of pressure because, you swing and miss or top one off, it's embarrassing. So you got to get out there and just swing it, put it into play, set the whole thing up. You bring the intensity. You're the one setting up the pace of all the plays. So they bring a lot of stuff to the drill field.
They do need to bring a lot of energy. They need to be thinking ahead at all times, leading the field through their repetition, creating plays for our umpires. So it takes a lot of skill set to do that, and here at the Academy, we have some outstanding fungo hitters.
Fungo hitters are the proverbial engine that drives the control games that students perform in. Not only do they need to keep their energy high, but motivating everyone else is just as important.
Switch it up! 13 on the plate! 15 on the plate! Catcher! 13 on the plate! 15 on the plate! Come on!
And with that, the fungo hitters' own personalities oftentimes seep into the games they are hitting for.
Let's go, jump in there. Who we got? Call Daddy, I need one of them, baby.
It's a very challenging role here at the Umpires Training Academy. Not everyone is made to be a fungo hitter.
I'll do it. Here you go.
I was picking up on the fact that the umpires were starting to anticipate where I was going to hit based off of how my shoulders were turning. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll try to fool him here. So I turned my shoulders towards first base with knowing the fact I was going to hit it down the third base line.
He let go of the bat, and I was standing slightly back and to the right of the point of the plate talking to a student, and the bat came flying over my head about 6 inches and about a foot or two away from Nestor, and hit the backstop.
Literally went 6 inches above Emma's head and hit the backstop, and the whole field just froze. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I almost died. So that's the story of the fungo bat.
The best fungo hitter on staff is Adam Beck. Hands down.
It has to be Adam Beck. I wish I could give a more diplomatic answer and say that everyone's pretty good, but Adam's clearly the best fungo hitter on staff.
Adam Beck has been here for a while. He's got some years on me as an instructor, so I'm going to go with Adam Beck.
I got good at fungo hitting by just practice. That's basically the main thing. My first year on staff, a couple of the instructors that were the top fungo guys for that year kind of pulled everybody aside before the fields every day. And they would kind of see if we could swing it a little bit. And then once they saw that we could actually put the ball in play, kind of hit it where we wanted to, they started to work with us on setting up plays once we got into the control game portion of the school. So then they just worked with us on how to set up nobody on, then get like rotations, continue moving the runners around without completely clearing the bases and things like that. And then just implementing the rules once we got to that portion of the course as well.